Dear students, welcome once again. Today I will be discussing in this particular video regarding group discussion. Now, as you know, group discussion is a part of the selection process for different purpose. So let us have a discussion on what is group discussion, right? And then the basics. Actually, we'll be covering the basics. More subsequent video will try to explore different, elements in more detail. But this is the first video on group discussion, so I'll be just going into the basics today. Now, what a GD is or group discussion is all about. So, in a simple way, we can say that it is a structured conversation involving a group of individuals, usually between 6 to 8 or 10 persons, who gather to discuss a specific topic or a problem. Now, it could be in the work situation, or it could also be, as I said, as a part of the selection process. Now, here in this video, basically, we will be covering very briefly, touching on all these sub-themes or topics. What a GD is or group discussion is, what are the basic features of a GD, what are the different phases of a GD when it is conducted, then what the GTO or the group testing officer try to primarily observe in the candidates when they are in the discussion forums. Also, at times there are panelists, right? They record the whole GD proceedings and subsequently the panelists try to assess the suitability or otherwise of a candidate. Then some roles that the members or the participant in GDs are expected to play. Now, these roles can be productive, and at times we'll also discuss some of the unproductive roles that a candidate or a member of the GD should try to avoid. Now, GD is commonly used in academics, professional and social situations, as I stated earlier. Purpose is to collaborate and then solve a problems. But specifically this video relates to job interview, where as a part of the job interview process, when one is supposed to be part of a GD, group discussion, session. GDs are common component of interview process in many organizations, particularly for the roles where they require teamwork. In this context, we'll focus on the discussion in this video regarding the GD in a job interview context. Now, what are its basic features I stated? Usually, as I said, groups consist of 6 to 8 members or max 10 members. It all depends on the organizations. Now, candidates are assigned some numbers. They are addressed not by names but by numbers. Sometimes it happens, they are given some badge and they put it on, or they place it on the table, right, in front of each candidate, and while the GD is on, they address each other by this number, chest number. Okay, a GD officers or the group testing officer, I said, he normally announce either one or two topics or a single topic he may give, and then announce the time limit also. It could be 15 or 20 minutes, and then he will be withdrawing. He will not be present physically normally. Okay. GTO acts as a silent observer. He remains in the background, right? There is no leaders. All the members have a right, or it is given discretion that they can choose somebody as the informal leader in the informal process. Most important thing is in GD you have a very little advanced preparation on the topic. Normally it is announced there itself, maybe 5-10 minutes before. So very little time is there for prior preparations. But that doesn't mean you cannot have any prior preparation for that. You can explore what are the possible areas of topics which are currently in vogue, right? Now, topics are normally that hit the headlines in the news and the recent happenings. For instance, right now, the burning topics are war between Israel and Iran, Operation Sindoor just concluded, the fight tussle between Pakistan and India. US reciprocal tax policies, its impact, good or bad. Now, as I said, let us see what are the phases of a GD. Basically, experts say there are three phases of a GD. One is the introduction or initiation stage. Here the members get familiarized with each other. The group can develop its rules, how they start, how they go about, should they go clockwise, anti-clockwise as they are sitting, right? And most important, they have to complete the process within the allocated time, so they divide the time. So these rules or ground rules are decided in the initiation or introduction stage. Thereafter comes the central part, most important part of the GD, where actually there is a power struggle between the members. They compete among themselves with facts and figures. They agree, they disagree, they oppose, right? There are differences of opinions, but then one has to stay very calm but active. Now, in this stage, actually, the GTO or group testing officer or the panelist, as the case may be, they actually try to assess as the members perform in terms of their competencies, attitude, aptitude, which are observed and evaluated. Finally, before ending, there is a summarization session, which we call as concluding session of the GD. Now, the leader, if at all, has been chosen by the members, right? He or she can also, proactively take the leadership position, and then his or her duty is to summarize. Okay? So what they will do, they will discuss in a nutshell based on what was discussed in the GD. Different point of views are stated both in support or against the proposition. Summarizer should include important points discussed, but it should not take any new points in the summary stage, right? Whatever actually has been discussed, those points only will be, put in a nutshell, one or few sentences, right? Now, what the GTO or the group testing officer primarily observes, let us list out some points very briefly. First is how the candidate is interacting and reacting. Is he polite, respectful, assertive? Is he aggressive? Secondly, how the candidate makes his or her presence felt in the group. Is he an active member? Is he takes initiatives? Is he participating, or is passive or dormant? How the candidate is able to influence others. Is he taking a leadership role, speaking with clarity? Is he logical? The candidate's ability to adapt to the behaviors of others. This is another criteria which the GTO will be taking into consideration while you are assessing him. It's about being flexible, empathetic, recognizing that others have also different point of views, thinking. Next is capacity to extend active cooperation. See, in GD actually they also assess how cooperative, how you are taking the entire group with you, right? So one must be willing to accept criticism. One must also rephrase the point of view to make it more understandable, which the other person has stated. Finally, whether the group looks up to the person or he is ignored, rejected. This could be another aspect which will be assessed, evaluated. Members may ask a member of the to intervene, to clarify, to take the lead. This will show that you are different from others. You are having some leadership qualities. So you have to be careful about this. Whether the candidate demonstrate discipline, restraint, this is also equally important. Now, all these are some of the aspects which the GTO or group testing officer primarily observes in a candidate. Based on that, he will make an assessment finally. Let me tell you here in group discussion, sometimes it happens the entire group or maximum number of the group members are selected to the next round. At times, none of them are selected, depending on how a person or how a member performs. So basically, panelists, what they do, they assess on communication skill, whether you are a good listener, speaker, your clarity of thoughts, the language quality that you use, your body language. Next is the cooperation skill, how you are cooperating, okay, whether you are giving chance for others to speak or you are totally dominating, trying to dominating. Leadership quality, as I said, your own personality traits, are you taking the lead if required, whether you are giving opportunity for others. Analytical skill, yes, this is very essential. You have to assess, verify, and then take a decision, not blindly agreeing to others' point of view. If this you are doing, accordingly you are being assessed. Subject knowledge, yes, how much you are aware of the topics, contents. Normally the topics are of recent happenings which are in the news, so obviously one is expected to know with facts and figures, right? Next is attitude and confidence. This is another aspects which either the group testing officer or the panel they consider while assessing a candidate in a GD. Now, they will be observing whether the candidate or member of the group discussion smiling, greeting each members, okay, is he disagreeing and expressing the same but politely citing the reasons, okay. Now you cannot be aggressive. If you don't agree, free, it's well accepted, fine, but then you have to put it across in a decent way. This is also equally important. So we have basically discussed what are the traits or qualities which the GD tried to assess. Now let us go into some other sub-themes of this. The roles in a structured GD. What are the different roles a member of the group discussion should be or need to take? First is the initiator. Who is the initiator? Who starts the discussion, right? Now, here I must say that one should not, jump into, initiating, right? One should wait, okay? Take others into confidence. Okay, one can volunteer to take the initiation, but this you have to do only when you have sufficient knowledge on the topic. So you can start like this: friends, let us begin the discussion without wasting further time. If you are willing, okay, I'll take the lead and start the discussion, set the ball rolling. Second role is information seeker and giver. A member in the GD is required to, ask for information, ask for any elaboration, ask for any clarification. For instance, he can ask, could you please elaborate on the topic what you said just now? Could you say cite which source you are quoting? So these are information seeker and giver's role. Next is procedure facilitator. So what the member is expected to do? Help the group to set rules, make sure that everyone participates and no one is left out, and also no one is dominating. For example, if you all agree, let us each speak 2 minutes in the first round, and when time permits, we can again come down to the next round, and likewise we can go till we complete the process. Clarifier is another role. So what the clarifier will do, a member will do, taking up this role, he will rephrase what somebody has said, giving that member due credit. Okay? He can start his sentence like this: if I understand correctly, you, Mr. Number 4, mean to say this. Am I right? Next role is that of the summarizer. As I said, the last phase in a GD is summarizing. That means one who puts the nutshell what the group has discussed So he can begin this way. We had a healthy group discussion, and as a group, the following points emerged and agreed upon. Okay. Then comes another role, that is harmonizer. Okay, harmonizer, that could be conflict. Okay, some members might become very aggressive. So your role as a member of the GD is to harmonize, right? To try to resolve the conflict. You try to de-escalate the conflict. Okay, so that will be role of a harmonizer, and as a member you should take this, because ultimately they are assessing different qualities in a member. Then there is a recorder. One, somebody who takes note of what was discussed, what activities took place, and then may ultimately use this to summarize the discussion at the end. So those were some of the productive roles, but here I will list out a few of the unproductive roles that some members might unintentionally or intentionally get indulged into. What are these? Monopolizer. What is monopolizer? Now, a group member who makes excessive verbal contributions, preventing equal opportunity for others. This is a negative role somebody is playing. It will go against him. Next is blocker. A blocker are there in different games, team games. Now, a blocker intentionally or unintentionally keeps things from getting done, discussed, delays the progress of discussion. Then there are some who are withdrawers. What are the withdrawers? They are mentally, physically, they get, detach themselves, removes themselves from the discussion and may participate when forced to. That becomes very minimal. Of course, all these go against the member. Then there is aggressors. As I said, aggression is a very negative behavior one should always avoid, and particularly in GD, never show your aggression. You may be assertive, you can speak your mind, whatever you feel, but you cannot be aggressive. There is dormant, or rather we call it as doormat. A person who is chronically submissive. He will give in very quickly when challenged. He is not self-assured, so he surrenders very quickly. This is something very negative. That will also go against the person. Then there are some who are frequent interrupters. They will be interrupting very frequently, butting in with others when others are speaking. Intention being solely to attract attention or to disturb. Now this behavior obviously is taken very negatively. So these are the few things, basic things of a GD that I discussed today. In the subsequent video, dear students, learners, I will be going into more details of interview techniques, types of interview, GD, how to develop the contents in a GD, group discussion, requires some preparation. But sometimes it happens you are given topic where you have least idea, knowledge. So what do you do in that? Right? So there are ways experts have suggested, even if you don't have a prior knowledge on the subject theme, you can still develop some contents and participate actively, right, in the GD. That we'll be doing in a subsequent video. But today, I'll stop it here. Thank you. Thank you for being part of this.